This authorized audiobook of Soul Contracts 101 by Seraphina Hartwell is presented by Soul Sanctuary Audio. Copyright Seraphina Hartwell. Introduction to Part 3, Living in Alignment with Your Soul's Purpose. Understanding and decoding your soul contracts is only half the battle. The true magic happens when you take ownership of these agreements and use them as stepping stones toward fulfillment. In Part 3, we shift our focus from introspection to action, exploring how to live authentically within your soul's design. Here, you'll learn to embrace challenges not as punishments, but as opportunities for growth. You'll discover rituals for releasing outdated contracts and forging new ones aligned with your evolving desires. Most crucially, you'll cultivate practices that nurture supportive relationships, foster abundance, and keep you anchored in your higher purpose. You conclude you won't merely understand your soul contracts. You'll embody them. You'll walk away empowered to co-create your destiny with clarity, confidence, and compassion. After all, the ultimate goal of decoding your agreements isn't just awareness, it's liberation. So let us proceed, one step closer to mastering the art of living in harmony with your soul's deepest truths. 7. Embracing your role in the grand design. The sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose. Evelyn stood on her porch, sipping chamomile tea as she watched the day fade into twilight. The air was cool against her skin, carrying with it the faint scent of blooming jasmine. She felt a profound sense of calm, not the fleeting kind that comes from escaping life's chaos, but the deep, abiding peace that arises when you finally understand your place within the grand tapestry of existence. Breaking unhealthy agreements had been liberating, yet Evelyn knew this wasn't the end of her journey. It was merely a new beginning. Now, she faced a different challenge, embracing her role in the grand design. This meant shifting from resistance to acceptance, fear to trust, and passivity to active participation in her soul's evolution. It meant seeing herself not as a victim of circumstance, but as a co-creator of her reality. From resistance to acceptance. Evelyn, all the times she'd fought against life's challenges, arguing with fate, railing against injustice, or clinging desperately to outcomes beyond her control. Each struggle had left her exhausted, drained, and further from the clarity she sought. Yet now, armed with the knowledge of soul contracts, she saw these moments differently. They weren't random hardships, they were invitations to surrender, to let go of what she couldn't change, and focus instead on how she responded. Resistance keeps us stuck, the voice reminded her gently. Acceptance opens doors. She recalled Marcus's occasional emotional distance, a trigger that once sent her spiraling into insecurity. Instead of resisting his need for space, she accepted it as part of who he was, trusting that their connection would deepen through mutual understanding rather than forced proximity. Similarly, when work projects didn't unfold as planned, she stopped viewing setbacks as failures and started seeing them as detours leading her toward better opportunities. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation, the voice clarified. It means acknowledging what is so you can respond with wisdom and grace. To cultivate acceptance, Evelyn practiced mindfulness exercises, grounding herself in the present moment whenever anxiety threatened to pull her under. She repeated affirmations like, "I trust the process of life. Everything happens for my highest good. I am exactly where I'm meant to be." With each breath, she felt more aligned with the flow of universal energy, the invisible current guiding her journey. Cultivating gratitude for difficult lessons. Gratitude became another cornerstone of Evelyn's transformation. At first, expressing thanks for painful experiences felt counterintuitive. How could she possibly be grateful for abandonment, heartbreak, or self-doubt? Yet, as she reflected on these lessons, their gifts. Her father's departure had taught her resilience and independence. Heartbreaks had revealed her capacity for love and her ability to heal. Self-doubt had pushed her to dig deeper, uncovering strengths she never knew she possessed. Without these challenges, she wouldn't have grown into the person she today. Gratitude transforms pain into purpose, the voice explained. When you honor the lessons hidden within difficulties, you reclaim their power. Evelyn kept a gratitude journal, jotting down 3 things she was thankful for each night. Some entries celebrated joyful moments, her daughter's laughter, a heartfelt conversation with Sarah, but others acknowledged harder truths. I'm grateful for the lesson in boundaries I learned from an unbalanced friendship. I'm thankful for the courage it took to release toxic patterns in my romantic relationships. I appreciate the growth that came from facing my fears head-on. Over time, this practice rewired her perspective, helping her find beauty even in life's darkest chapters. Trusting divine timing. One of the hardest aspects of embracing her role in the grand design was learning to trust divine timing. Evelyn often found herself impatient, eager for answers or resolutions that hadn't yet arrived. When would she meet the right partner? When would her creative endeavors gain traction? When would she feel truly fulfilled? Yet, as she surrendered to uncertainty, she noticed synchronicities, small signs reminding her that everything was unfolding as it should. A chance encounter with a stranger sparked an idea for a project she'd to define. An unexpected email brought news of a promotion she hadn't dared hope for. Even delays that once frustrated her revealed hidden blessings, giving her time to prepare for what lay ahead. Divine timing operates on a scale far greater than our immediate desires, the voice reassured her. Trust that every delay, detour, or pause serves a higher purpose. To strengthen her faith, Evelyn created a vision board with images and words representing her dreams. Beneath each item, she wrote, "This or something better." The phrase served as a reminder that the universe might have plans. Case study, Finding Freedom in Surrender. A pivotal moment came during a weekend retreat focused on mindfulness and manifestation. During a guided meditation, Evelyn visualized herself standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves lapping at her feet. She held a lantern glowing with golden light, her soul's essence. As she gazed at the horizon, she realized she didn't need to control the tide. Her job was to shine her light, trusting that it would guide her path. When she returned home, she applied this insight to her daily life. Instead of micromanaging details or obsessing over outcomes, she focused on staying true to her values and intentions, a decision aligned with her highest good. She moved forward without attachment to results. Surprisingly, this approach yielded greater success and serenity than ever before. "I used to think surrender meant giving up," she mused one evening, journaling by candlelight. "Now I see it as stepping fully into my power. By letting go of what I can't control, I create space for miracles to unfold." Transition to Chapter 8. Embracing your role in finding harmony between effort and surrender, action and trust. Yet living authentically also requires nurturing the connections that sustain you, relationships rooted in mutual support, compassion, and growth. These bonds are essential not only for personal fulfillment, but also for fulfilling your soul's agreements. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to strengthen supportive agreements and build bridges that uplift you and those around you. Remember, you are never alone on this journey. Together, we weave the threads of humanity's collective evolution. Until then, continue practicing acceptance, gratitude, and trust. Every step brings you closer to embodying the calm and purpose you see. 8. Strengthening supportive agreements. The morning light filtered through sheer curtains, casting soft golden patterns on the wooden floor of Evelyn's cozy living room. She sat cross-legged on a plush rug, her journal resting in her lap and a steaming cup of chamomile tea beside her. The faint scent of lavender wafted from an oil diffuser nearby, creating an atmosphere of calm that contrasted sharply with the storm of thoughts swirling inside her mind. Evelyn had spent weeks decoding her soul contracts, uncovering old wounds, recognizing recurring patterns, and even severing ties with agreements that no longer served her highest good. But today felt different. Today wasn't about what needed to be released. It was about what could be nurtured. She opened her journal to a fresh page and wrote at the top, "Who supports my journey? Who uplifts me?" As she stared at the words, memories began to surface, faces of people who had been constants in her life, anchors during turbulent times. Her best friend Sarah, whose laughter always seemed to chase away the shadows. Her mentor James, who believed in her potential long before she did herself. And then there was Clara, her elderly neighbor, whose quiet wisdom had guided Evelyn through moments of doubt. These relationships weren't random. They were intentional. They were contracts, agreements made before birth to provide love, guidance, and strength when she needed them most. For the first time, Evelyn allowed herself to truly feel the weight and beauty of those connections. It wasn't just gratitude she felt, it was reverence. Later that afternoon, Evelyn decided to take action. She invited Sarah over for coffee, something they hadn't done in months due to their busy schedules. When Sarah arrived, her vibrant energy filled the room like sunlight breaking through clouds. "I've missed this," Sarah said as she settled into a chair, cradling her mug. "Life gets so hectic sometimes." "It does," Evelyn agreed, leaning forward. "But I realized recently how much you mean to me. Not just as a friend, but, well, as someone who's part of my soul's blueprint." Sarah raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Soul's blueprint?" Evelyn smiled softly. "Yeah, like, we agreed to meet before we were born, to support each other. You've been there for me more than I can count, and I don't think I've ever really thanked you properly." Sarah blinked, surprised by the sincerity in Evelyn's voice. Then she grinned. "Well, if we're talking pre-birth agreements, I should thank you. Remember the sophomore year, when I was going through that breakup? You showed up at my door with ice cream and stayed with me all night. That wasn't nothing." They both laughed, the sound warm and familiar. But beneath the levity, something profound shifted between them. Their bond deepened, becoming richer and more intentional. By acknowledging the sacredness of their connection, they transformed it from a casual friendship into a partnership rooted in mutual understanding and purpose. The next day, Evelyn visited Clara. The elderly woman lived in a small cottage at the edge of town, surrounded by wildflowers and towering oak trees. Clara greeted her with a knowing smile, as though she'd been expecting her. "You look like someone with questions," Clara said, ushering Evelyn inside. Evelyn hesitated before speaking. "I've been thinking a lot about soul contracts lately, about the people in my life who are here to help me grow. And I realized you're one of them." Clara chuckled, her eyes twinkling. "Oh, child, I knew that the moment I met you. Some connections are written in the stars." "But why me?" Evelyn asked, her voice tinged with vulnerability. "Why would someone like you, a wise, incredible person, agree to guide someone like me?" Clara placed a gentle hand on Evelyn's shoulder. "Because every soul has value. Every soul carries lessons others need to learn. Maybe I'm here to teach you patience or resilience. Or maybe you're here to remind me of the joy of seeing the world through younger eyes. It's never one-sided, dear. That's the beauty of these agreements. Her words resonated deeply within Evelyn. She left Clara's house feeling lighter, as though a burden she hadn't fully acknowledged had been lifted. Relationships weren't meant to drain or deplete. They were meant to nourish and elevate. That evening, Evelyn lit a candle and sat down to write affirmations, as suggested in the exercises outlined in Chapter 7. With each sentence, she reinforced the supportive agreements in her life. I am grateful for Sarah, whose unwavering friendship reminds me of the power of unconditional love. I honor James, whose belief in me inspires me to believe in myself. I cherish Clara, whose wisdom guides me toward clarity and peace. As she wrote, she visualized these affirmations weaving together like threads in a tapestry, strengthening the fabric of her life. Each word carried intention. Each phrase vibrated with authenticity. By the end of the week, Evelyn noticed subtle yet significant changes. Conversations with loved ones felt deeper, more meaningful. Small gestures, like sending a thoughtful text or offering a listening ear, became acts of conscious connection rather than reflexive habits. Even strangers seemed to respond differently to her, as though her newfound awareness radiated outward, touching everyone she encountered. One evening, as she prepared for bed, Evelyn paused to reflect on the journey she'd embarked upon. Decoding her soul contracts hadn't just given her insight into her past, empowered her to shape her present and future. And now, by nurturing the supportive agreements in her life, she was learning to live not just for herself, but also for the collective growth of those around her. As she turned off the light, a single thought lingered. We are all connected, not by chance, but by choice. And with that realization, Evelyn drifted off to sleep, ready to embrace whatever tomorrow might bring. 9. Manifesting beyond karma. The morning sun bathed Evelyn's kitchen in warm, golden light as she sipped her tea, gazing out the window at the dew-kissed garden. Birds chirped melodiously, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the trees. The first time in years, not just with her soul's blueprint, but with the infinite possibilities ahead. She had healed old wounds, released toxic agreements, and embraced her role in the grand design. It was time to take the final step, transcending karmic cycles and consciously creating a future rooted in love, peace, and authenticity. Realized wasn't a prison sentence, it was a teacher, and like any good student, she had learned its lessons well. But mastery meant moving beyond reaction to intention, from unconscious repetition to deliberate creation. This chapter would guide her, and readers, on a life that honored their highest truths while breaking free from the chains of past conditioning. Moving from reaction to intention, Evelyn reflected on how much of her life had been driven by automatic responses, patterns inherited from childhood, societal expectations, or unresolved karma. Her father's abandonment had shaped her fear of rejection, leading her to cling desperately to relationships that mirrored his absence. Her perfectionism stemmed from a need for external validation, born of feeling unseen and unheard as a child. These reactions had kept her tethered to outdated scripts, replaying the same scenes. Reactions are echoes of the past, the voice explained gently. Intentions are seeds of the future. To shift from reaction to intention, Evelyn her thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with curiosity rather than judgment. When anxiety bubbled up during moments of uncertainty, she paused to ask herself, what belief is fueling this emotion? Is this response serving my highest good? How can I choose differently right now? She replaced knee-jerk reactions with conscious choices. Instead of lashing out when frustrated, she practiced deep breathing and responded with calm clarity. Rather than seeking approval from others, she affirmed her worth internally, reminding herself, "I am enough as I am. My value isn't determined by external validation. I trust myself to make decisions rooted in love." Over time, these small shifts added up, creating a foundation for intentional living. Aligning choices with soul-level intentions. Next, Evelyn focused on aligning her daily actions with her soul-level intentions, the desires and values that resonated most deeply with her authentic self. She revisited the affirmations she'd written in Chapter 6, refining them to reflect her current aspirations. I attract relationships that nurture mutual growth and joy. I express my creativity freely, knowing it inspires others. I live, guided by love and compassion. To ensure her choices aligned with these intentions, she adopted a simple yet powerful practice: the 3 questions check-in. Before making decisions, whether big, like accepting a job offer, or small, like responding to a friend's request, she asked herself, 1. Does this choice honor my highest good? 2. Does it contribute to the greater good? 3. Does it feel expansive or constrictive in my body? If the answers pointed toward alignment, she moved forward confidently. If not, she paused to reconsider, trusting her intuition to guide her toward better options. This process helped Evelyn navigate pivotal moments with clarity. When offered a promotion that required longer hours away from her daughter, she declined, recognizing that family time aligned more closely with her soul's priorities. Conversely, when an opportunity arose to mentor young women in her community, she accepted enthusiastically, knowing it fulfilled her desire to uplift others. Tools for manifestation. Manifestation became another cornerstone of Evelyn's journey, a way to actively co-create her reality with the universe. Drawing on practices like visualization, gratitude, and energy work, she cultivated a mindset of abundance and possibility. Each morning, she visualized her ideal day unfolding effortlessly. She imagined waking up energized, connecting deeply with loved ones, and accomplishing tasks. Vision firmly in her mind, she signaled to the universe her readiness to receive. Gratitude amplified her manifestations. Before bed, she wrote down 3 things she appreciated about her day, no matter how small. Over time, this practice shifted her focus from lack to abundance, opening her heart to greater blessings. Energy work complemented these efforts. Using techniques like Reiki, chakra balancing, and crystal grids, she also incorporated sound healing, playing Tibetan singing bowls to raise her vibrational frequency and align with the universal flow. Case study: a life transformed. Months later, Evelyn looked back on her journey with awe. The changes weren't dramatic, they were subtle yet profound. Her relationship with Marcus had evolved into a partnership marked by mutual respect and emotional intimacy. Her creative projects flourished, earning recognition she hadn't dared dream of. Most importantly, she radiated a sense of inner peace that drew people to her like moths to a flame. One evening, as she tucked her daughter into bed, the little girl looked up at her with wide eyes and said, "Mommy, you're so happy lately. It makes me happy too." Tears pricked Evelyn's eyes as she hugged her tightly. At that moment, she understood the ripple effects of transcending karma. Choosing love over fear, authenticity over conformity, and intention over overreaction transformed those around her. Transition to conclusion. Manifesting beyond karma marks the culmination of your journey, a leap from unconscious patterns to conscious creation. Yet remember, this isn't the end, it's a new beginning. Your soul's evolution is ongoing, shaped by every choice you make and the lessons you embrace. In the conclusion, we'll reflect on the transformative power of understanding and honoring your soul contracts. You'll leave equipped with tools, insights, and inspiration to continue walking the path of sovereignty with clarity, courage, and compassion. Until then, celebrate your progress. Trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be, and know that the universe is always conspiring in your favor. 10. Conclusion: walking the path of sovereignty. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a soft glow over Evelyn's garden. She sat on her porch, a steaming mug of tea cradled in her hands, and let the stillness envelop her. The air carried the faint scent of blooming jasmine, mingling with the gentle hum of cicadas. In this quiet moment, that she felt it most acutely, the profound sense of sovereignty that had eluded her for so long. Sovereignty wasn't about control or dominance. It was about ownership. Ownership of her story, her choices, and her soul's journey. Through understanding her soul contracts, healing old wounds, breaking unhealthy agreements, and consciously manifesting her desires, Evelyn had stepped into her power, not as a victim of fate, but as a co-creator of her reality. And now, as she gazed at the stars beginning to twinkle in the night sky, she realized something extraordinary. She was both the author and the protagonist of her story. Reflections on the journey. Evelyn thought back to where she'd started, lost, confused, and weighed down by patterns she couldn't explain. At the time, life had felt like a chaotic web of random events, each thread pulling her further from peace. But now, armed with the knowledge of soul contracts, she saw the divine orchestration behind every twist and turn. Her father's abandonment hadn't been punishment. It had been preparation, a catalyst for resilience and self-reliance. Her struggles in relationships hadn't been failures. They had been lessons in setting boundaries and cultivating self-love. Even her moments of doubt hadn't been signs of weakness. They had been invitations to dig deeper, uncover hidden strengths, and trust herself more fully. This perspective didn't erase the pain of the past, but it reframed it. Pain became purpose. Struggle became growth. Chaos became clear. Evelyn understood now that every challenge, every connection, and every choice carried meaning, and that meaning was hers to interpret, honor, and transform, living authentically within your soul's blueprint. As Evelyn reflected on her journey, she recognized that living authentically within her soul's blueprint required ongoing commitment. It wasn't enough to decode her agreements or release what no longer served her. She had to remain vigilant, continually aligning her actions with her highest truths. This meant staying attuned to her intuition, practicing gratitude even in difficult times, and trusting the flow of life, even when the path ahead seemed uncertain. She also realized that authenticity wasn't a solo endeavor. Her relationships played a vital role in her evolution, serving as mirrors, teachers, and anchors. By nurturing supportive connections and releasing toxic ones, she created a network of love and encouragement that sustained her through challenges and celebrated her triumphs. These bonds reminded her that she was never truly alone, that her journey was part of a larger tapestry woven by countless souls working toward collective healing and growth. A call to action: embrace your power. To anyone reading this book, Evelyn would offer one piece of advice: embrace your power. You are not a passive participant in your life. You are an active force shaping your destiny. Every decision you make, the emotion you process, and the intention you set ripples outward, influencing the world around you. Start small if you must in your life. Practice forgiveness for yourself and others. Set boundaries that protect your energy and nurture your spirit. Visualize the future you desire, and take steps, however tiny, to bring it into being. Over time, These actions will compound, creating a life that reflects your deepest values and aspirations. Remember, too, that mastery is not perfection. There will be days when old habits resurface, fear threatens to take hold, or doubt clouds your vision. On those days, be kind to yourself. Healing and growth are nonlinear processes and are simply opportunities to recalibrate and realign. Final words of encouragement. As Evelyn sipped the last drops of her tea, she whispered a silent promise to herself. I will keep choosing love. I will keep choosing growth. I will keep choosing freedom. And so can you. You are the architect of your soul's journey, the weaver of your destiny. With every breath, you have the opportunity to rewrite your story, honor your agreements, and step boldly into the unknown. Trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor, guiding you toward experiences that reflect your highest good. Trust, too, that you possess everything you need to navigate life's complexities with grace and wisdom. So go forth with courage and curiosity. Decode your soul contracts, heal your wounds, and create a life that resonates with your truest self. In doing so, you'll not only fulfill your own purpose, but also contribute to the greater tapestry of humanity, a tapestry woven with threads of love, compassion, and infinite possibility. You are ready.